Hey, this is Nathan Part of the Young Philosopher Society Underground Canada. That's ypscanada.com. I'm here today to bring you some even more mind-blowing information. What I want to talk about is 9/11, Fukushima, and how the devil is here right now on planet Earth. All of this, I believe Fukushima might have been his coming out party. But all of this, what I have to talk about today, ties in with this book that Aleister Crowley wrote called The Vision and the Voice. Before getting started, I just want to thank all the new subscribers and the people who have been commenting to me on my YouTube channel with positive and uplifting comments, the positive feedback. This is the coolest group of people in the world right now to me. It's not like I can go out and talk about any of this stuff to anybody around me. It's not like people even call me a conspiracy theorist or anything like this. People are just numb to this information when I tell it to them. And so it takes a certain type of mind to actually be able to comprehend this, in my opinion. It's not a certain type of intelligence or anything like that. It's just, everybody has their own interests, and that's what it comes down to. Some people like, farming. Some people like construction. Some people like fishing. Some people like hunting, camping. We all have our own interests, and this type of stuff only seems to appeal to people who are interested in this. So it is just very uplifting to talk with everybody across the world right now and giving me this positive feedback. Like I said, coolest group of people in my opinion. But I just want to start off by talking about what the vision and the voice was. I've talked about this in previous articles that I've written. One I wrote on my philosophy section of my website. It's called Owls and Aliens, and I go in to talk about this stuff. But the whole vision and the voice, first of all, when I look at the cover of it, it looks to be an alien wearing an owl hat. Now, some it's supposed to be depicted as this alien or this owl body transforming into this, owl hat and all this stuff. But to me, it looks like there's an alien head, and on top of it, and it has snake eyes and kind of snake mouth and all this stuff. And on the head, it's wearing this alien helmet, and that's why I wrote that article about owls and aliens and how this is all, the theme of owls and aliens, just how it's prevalent throughout history. And I give different examples, but let me just click here. Oh, I'm just going to go back here. Sorry, I don't have my screen shots today. I'm actually working on a different computer. I don't have my girlfriend's Apple iMac or whatever, and that's the only thing I can do the screenshots in. But this will be good enough. I don't need to really take too many of this stuff. First of all, the whole thing with the vision and the voice is that it was published in 1911. And so when I get into talking what I want to talk about today, it all makes sense to you. But that's the first thing. That's the first relevant piece of information I want to give you, is that it was published in 1911, therefore making the whole, how George Bush came out in 1991 and gave that speech about the New World Order, and then that happened on September 11, 2001. Well, as we go through all this information, you come to see that the whole Fukushima thing, the disaster, it happened on March 11, 2011. And so, this date is very important. It's not a conspiracy theory or anything like that. But just to give you a little idea of what this, the vision and the voice is, I'll just read through the Wikipedia section here. It says, the vision and the voice, or Liber 418, chronicles the mystical journey of Aleister Crowley as he explored the 30 Enochian eighth years, originally developed by Dr. John Dee and Edward Kelly. And that's why I'm always talking about this Dr. John Dee. This guy wrote Mona's Hieroglyphics, and on the book, if you look at it, it's the one-eyed demon. This is probably what the most powerful entity that controls all of the astral world is, I believe, in my opinion, anyways. And so if you look into the work of John Dee and these other guys, this is what Aleister Crowley based his work on, is these guys, and it's ultimately it compounds this anti-religion, anti-Christian religion. You just scroll down a little bit here in this intro, and it says, the vision and the voice is the source of many central spiritual doctrines of Thelema, especially the visions of Babylon and her consort Chaos. And then in brackets it says the All-Father. And so this is another hugely predominant theme, the whole thing with Chaos, and of course Babylon, the Whore of Babylon, all that stuff. But the order out of Chaos, it all revolves around this stuff. This is, the guy ultimately dictating what happens. He creates madness, and out of it he takes even more power. And it goes on to say, as well as an account of how an individual might cross the abyss, aka into the astral world or whatever, thereby assuming the title of Master of the Temple, and taking place in the city of pyramids under the Night of Pan. And as I've said in previous things, Pan apparently is some demon. He might be the head demon, I'm not sure. I'm trying to break this down and just really examine this from different angles. And I seem to be getting some different conclusions as I do that. But the vision and the voice, there are, like as I said, there's 30 different eighth years, they call them, AETHYRS. And what I've come to believe that each of these eighth years, they represent the 30 different days in the month. When I think that each, like, I'm not sure if they're going to conduct all these rituals and if they all need to be conducted on each of the different days in order to bring about the Antichrist. But when I'm looking at through all of these, I haven't gone through all of them yet. I've gone through quite a few of them, but for today, I'm just going to focus on the first eighth year, the 11th eighth year, and the 30th eighth year. So these are the number 11 I chose because, the 9/11, all this stuff. The reason I'm not going into the 9th eighth year is because there wasn't a whole lot there, but there is when you go in there. There does show to be an association with. It talks about the 11th eighth year, so there's a relationship there. And the reason it skips over the 10th eighth year, or I did anyways, but it's interesting because it talks about the Archangel Michael and it says that the 10th eighth year is actually abandoned. It's just so wild. It's too much for me to comprehend, that's for sure. But that's why I want to just highlight why I'm talking about these different, the first, 11th, and 30th eighth year, because it's the first one gives you an understanding of what the book's about. The 11th one, as I said, it ties in with the whole numerology of 11, and the 30th because it's the last one and it's the conclusion to the whole story on planet Earth, apparently. Each of these eighth years, it's a long story, and I'm just taking little sections out of each one to kind of give you an understanding of what's going on here. They're the most little important pieces of each one. In the first one, I'll just keep going. I'm not going to, like I say, break it down. It says, I am light, and I am night, and I am the which is beyond them. I am speech, and I am silence, and I am that which is beyond them. I am life, I am death. It keeps going on and talking about this in this little section, so it goes on. It's talking about the whole concept of duality, as above, so below. As I said, the whole Father, the chaos, he controls the left and the right. And so he controls the good and the bad and everything that's in front of us. It's a complete artificial show. The next little section, and thou must work by the light of the star and the moon of the sun and the dreadful light of the judgment that is the birth of the Holy Spirit within thee. When these all have destroyed the universe, when mayest thou enter the palace of the queen of my daughter. And so in this first eighth year, they're talking about destroying the universe, and that's what these people are trying to do so they can get into this this kingdom where this devil lives, or whoever it is. It's not actually the devil. I'm going to get more into that. The devil appears to be just one of the entities in the astral world, and he lives on the outermost astral dimension. And you'll understand this more once I get to the 11th eighth year. Anyways, and it says, and they shall be brought unto subjection unto thee and serve thee, though thou willest it not, and it shall be unto them a grace and a sacrament, and ye shall all sit down together at the supernatural banquet, or supernal banquet, and ye shall feast upon the honey of the gods, and be drunk upon the dew of immortality, for I am Horus, the crowned and conquering child, whom thou knewest not. So the reason I wanted to talk about this first one is because it's talking about Horus, and this is mentioned more in the 30th eighth year once I get to it, but this is ultimately what Aleister Crowley thought he was contacting when he was writing the Book of the Law. So the entity Horus is very important. Also, the Horus is important because it talks about the transition of aeons. They talk about going from talks about going from Isis to Osiris, now to Horus. So what it appears is that throughout the centuries, that the devil, or not the devil, I keep misinterpreting that. Whoever the overlord is of the underworld, they're controlling each century within Hegelian dialectic, pretty much, is what I'm getting at. It keeps going on. It says, pass thou on, therefore, O thou prophets of God, unto the cubical altar of the universe. There thou shalt every tribe and kingdom and nation into the mighty order that reacheth from the frontier fortress that guard the uttermost abyss unto my throne. This is the formula of the aeon, and with that the voice of Lil, that is the lamp of the invisible light, is ended. Amen. Okay, so the reason I wanted to mention that first one is because it's talking about Horus and how this is the child of the universe, and the whole concept of this cubicle thing. I'll get into more than that in a bit in the last one. But now I want to talk about the 11th eighth year. This is where things get really interesting to me. The date 9/11, all this stuff. The book was published in 9/11. It's just, I'm sorry if I'm muttering this. It's just so unbelievable because this is, like I say, Fukushima happened exactly 100 years after this book was published. And which makes me think that, once you read through this eighth year, which like I'm about to, you understand that this actually was a gigantic ritual to start pretty much extermination on planet Earth. There's no other way to put it. So let me get into it. There appears in the stone immediately to the camea of the moon, and it is rolled up, and behind it there appeareth the great host of angels. Their backs are turned towards me, but I can see how tremendous are their arms, which are swords and spears. They have wings upon their helmets and their heels. They are clad in complete armor. Uh, and their least of their sword is likely breaking forth of a tremendous storm of lightning. The least of their spears is like a great waterspout. On their shields are the eyes of Tetragrammaton, winged with flame, white, red, black, yellow, and blue. On their flanks are vast squadrons of elephants, and behind them are meteor artillery. They that sit upon the elephants armed with thunderbolt of Zeus. I perceive that all this army is defended by fortresses, 9 mighty towers of iron upon the frontier of the 8th year. Each tower is filled with warriors in silver armor. It is impossible to describe the feeling of tension. They are like oarsmen waiting for their gun. And so they're starting to talk about the towers, which is alludes to the whole towers getting hit on 9/11. I mean, that's what it seems like to me anyways, but I go on. By 3 and by 3 and by 3 hath he made firm the foundation against the earthquake, that is 3. For in the number 9 is the changefulness of numbers brought to naught. For with whoever number thou wilt cover it, and appeareth unchanged. So there it is. It's talking about 3 by 3 by 3, how it equals 9, and how 9 is the number of change. In order to, again, this ties in with the whole 9/11 stuff. So it happens on 9, which means change, and 11th, which apparently brings out whatever these creatures are. But I'm just going to keep reading. These things are spoken unto him that understandeth, that there is breastplate unto the elephants, or corslet into the angels, or a scale upon the towers of iron. Yet his mighty host set only of defense, and whose path is beyond their line has no help to them. Again, another reference to the towers. Yet must he that understandeth go forth into the uttermost abyss, and there must he speak with him that is set above the fourfold terror, the princes of evil, even with Choronzon, the mighty devil that inhabiteth the outermost abyss. And none may speak with him or understand him, but to servants of Babylon that understand, and they are without understanding his servants. So the devil's mentioned as being in the outermost abyss in the 11th, 8th year, which ties in with everything about the 11th and everything that's happening on planet Earth. I'm going to keep going here. And this is when it starts talking about Fukushima, without a doubt. And whoso passeth into the outermost abyss, except he be of them that understand, holdeth out his hands, and boweth his neck unto the chains of Choronzon. And as a devil he walketh about the earth, immortal, and he blasteth the flowers of the earth, and he corrupteth the fresh air, and he maketh poisonous the water, and the fire that is the friend of man, and he pledged of his aspiration, seeing that it is monuneth ever upward as a pyramid, and seeing that man stole in a hollow tube from the heaven, even that fire he turneth unto ruin, and madness, and fever, and destruction, and thou that art of heap and dry dust in this city of pyramids, and must understand things. And then this gets even weirder. So there you go. It's talking about the poison in the air, the poison in the water. It's just poison everywhere. And this is Fukushima. This is what happened then. It was a extermination. Now it's so underrated. We're not even really talking about it anymore. But it's still leaking. We don't even understand what the ramifications of this are going to be. I'm going to keep going though. And I said unto the angel, is there not one appointed as a warden? And he said, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. I know I'm not pronouncing that right. But the reason this is important is because in brackets it says, and at the 9th hour Jesus shouted in a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. So this is something that ties in with Jesus. And then it says, which is translated, my God, why have you forsaken me? And then it says, put to death by his foes, very largely deserted by his friends. He may have also felt deserted by God. So this is, I guess, a time, I don't know, like I said, I'm not very well versed in the Bible, but it seems like a time where Jesus kind of lost all faith. And, Aleister Crowley's talking with this demon in this 11th, 8th year, and he's saying the same thing. Ultimately, he has no faith in God, and that's why they're saying, this whole thing's about not getting any immediate action by doing rituals in which God comes and rewards you. And so that's why a lot of these people, I think, have turned to the occult, because they're getting immediate reactions by interacting with these creatures who are giving them stuff, direction, all this stuff. But, as we can see, it's completely destroyed planet Earth. We have no humanity left. It's do what thou wilt. People are just turning on each other and pretty much taking on this just innate sense and selfish attitude. And that's what this whole Aeon of Horus is all about. And then it goes on to say, such an ecstasy of anguish racks me that I cannot give it voice. Yet I know it is but of an anguish of Jerthamine. And this is the last word of 8th year. The outposts are past, and therefore seer the outermost abyss. Anyways, that was the end there. And so, that's the 11th, 8th year there. Go look for yourself. It's important, and it talks about how the earth is being poisoned and how the devil's coming out. And I honestly believe that, I don't know if 9/11, which happened with the Twin Towers there, if this is when they did a gigantic ritual which brought Satan or the devil to planet Earth, or if it's happened on Fukushima. Fukushima seems more likely because it's exactly 100 years after, and it's talking about poisoning the earth, poisoning the water, which is exactly what Fukushima is doing, there's really no other way to spin it. Anyways, I'll talk about this last eighth year, the 30th one. I am in a vast crystal cube in the form of the great god Hippocrates. This cube is surrounded by a sphere. About me are four archangels in black robes. Their wings are armor lined out in white. Now, Hippocrates, I believe that is Horus, and he ends up being the god of the underworld. But even more, this talk of this crystal cube and all this stuff, throughout this last one, they talk about Saturn and all this stuff, and I really recommend people go check out this one guy's channel. It's Round Eye Saturn or something like that. I've talked about him before, and I always forget how the wording goes. It's Round Eye Saturn or Saturn Round Eyes or something like that. Go check out his work because he is a master talking about the stuff to do with Saturn and this cube and all this, what the stuff they're saying in this 30th eighth year. So, it's absolutely crazy. He'll be able to give you a way better elaboration on this stuff than I can. I'm just simply pointing out that I'm finding the same thing in Aleister Crowley's own writings, and this stuff seems to be happening. They seem to be going through with these rituals on planet Earth. Lift up your heads, O houses of eternity, for my Father goeth forth to judge the world. One light, let it become 1,000, and one sword 10,000, that no man hide him from my Father's eye in the day of judgment of my God. So again, it's talking about the one eye, which I ultimately believe ties in with John Dee's Mona's hieroglyphics, and on the cover, like I said, you see this devil with one eye. I believe that this is the most powerful entity. Maybe it's Odin, maybe it's Lucifer, I'm not sure, but it seems to be the one who's in control of everything. Let the gods hide themselves, let the angels be troubled and flee away, for the eye of my Father is open, and the book of the Aeon is fallen. So they're talking about the end of times here. They're talking about their god or their the god of the underworld, whoever it may be, coming and doing the judging. And I think this is like if you're a Christian or if you don't take the RFID chip, they're talking about you. You're the one who's going to be judged and all this stuff. Arise, 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 let the light of the sight of time be extinguished, let the darkness cover all things. For my Father goeth forth to seek a spouse to replace who is fallen and defiled. Tremble ye, O pillars of the universe, for eternity is in travail of a terrible child. She shall bring forth a universe of darkness, whence shall leap forth a spark that shall put his father to flight. And so they're introducing this concept of it being actually a female. Maybe it's Babylon, I'm not sure. But again, it's talking about a universe of darkness, which ties in with this whole black sun or black hole sun, whatever it may be. The obelisks are broken, the stars have rushed together, the light hath plunged into the abyss, the heavens are mixed with hell. This again ties in more with something having to do with CERN, having punch a portal into this different world and mixing everything together, and that's ultimately where these creatures are going to come from. The end, for the eye of Shiva he hath opened, the universe is naked before him, for the Aeon of Saturn leaneth toward the bosom of death. And then at the bottom I just have in brackets a vast swastika is shown unto be me behind the angel with the book. So we get an idea of how important the whole idea of the swastika is. It's mentioned throughout these whole writings, and it just ties in with, what exactly the Nazis were up to. I think they were into this stuff, and they made some serious progress, and that's why the whole Operation Paperclip was about merging all around the world whatever this religion was and getting on the same page, the elites getting on the same page and going forth with this. It's just absolutely crazy stuff that I've come across here. But that's all I really want to talk about right now. I've gone on and on. This is longest video I've done yet, so I don't want to get too long in the tooth. And so I just thought I'd bring all this information to you, and hopefully other people can dissect this more and articulate it in their own way. I just find it mind-boggling, the whole thing with the 11th, 8th year, and how the book was written in 1911, and then 100 years later, sure enough, the Fukushima, maybe one of the biggest disasters of all time, ties in with what exactly they're talking about. And it's talking about the devil himself doing this. So I don't know what else to say. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time, peace out.